Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner MetaZone, Rovi and MScribe, and today we're going to be talking about the Metaverse.
Very nice, dude. In context of what?
In context of reality, dude.
Well, in context of crypto reality, I guess. It's
Yeah.
like, we've been talking about AI quite a bit lately. And obviously that is like what the market is fixated on, like specifically, especially on Solana and Base. And
Yeah.
slowly these things are trickling into the Bitcoin ecosystem, which is our focus on this channel mostly, right? But we still like to be informed. And our roots stem back to Ethereum, right? So it's always interesting to like peer out and see what everyone else is working on, right? But you can't forget the Metaverse in context of like everything that's developing around AI.
AI agents in the Metaverse, they go hand in hand practically.
Yeah, that's the speculation, right? And as these agents become more robust and they could be integrated into more systems. Right now, they're like social media like experts.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them can deploy meme tokens on your behalf. Some of them can actually even generate art on your behalf. You just need to, tweet it a couple of prompts and stuff, and all of a sudden you got artistry in the making, right? So in the context of the Metaverse, how are these agents going to find its like vector of interplay? Most likely in like the creator economy in some sensibility, right?
Yeah, some job that the AI agent has to do.
Yeah, that seems to be like the most obvious first job, because in context of how the state of the Metaverse is today, there aren't really many job opportunities, right?
That's correct.
It's a very seldomly, I guess, developed out ecosystem.
Yeah,
right?
and I guess AI agents solve the player liquidity. All of a sudden, you have autonomous intelligence running around the Metaverse doing stuff.
Yeah, the Metaverse has always had its like chicken and egg problem, right?
Yeah.
It's always like we need more people to enter these virtual ecosystems in order to attract more developers to build out more engaging content and more functionality, more reasons for these people to essentially stay within the ecosystem, right? But it's like, how do you do that without like that engaging content, first there, a sustainable way to produce these new vectors of interest so that to maintain that liquidity, right?
Yeah, and now with AI agents having access to wallets, they become market participants.
Yeah. So market participants and potentially in the future, near future, creators, right?
Yeah.
Contributors at all facets of like what's going to make the Metaverse economy essentially proliferate. So this is big details, and it's very bullish for the Metaverse sector as a whole. Is like, once this AI ecosystem matures, the pathways to the Metaverse, they align quite perfectly, right? So let's analyze the Metaverse, dude. Like, what's the current state of like the opportunity of that?
Yeah, like you were saying earlier, there's sort of been a resurgence in the Metaverse, and we have Decentraland here, and you can look at the last 3 months, and it's just like going up.
Let's go all the way back in time, dude.
Max it out.
Let's nostalgia this motherfucker. Remember these days? Like way to the left.
Yeah. So let me zoom into this little spike here, because let's tell a story. All right. So I think Mana organically got to $1. And then look at this peak here. Look at this spike.
That is quite a spike, yeah.
So this was November 1st. You know what happened on November 1st?
What happened, dude?
Or actually October 30th or something like that. It looks like Mark Zuckerberg stepped into the chat and he was like, I'm going to name Facebook to Meta.
I do remember that. That was quite the inflection point, right? That's essentially was like the Chat GPT of the Metaverse, right? Whenever Chat GPT was released, I think also in like an October timeframe of 2022.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the AI sector like boomed in the crypto space. At that time, it was mostly Vitensor. was the AI sector, which is why Tau is like the front running AI coin in the market, right?
Yeah, so around this time is when all the institutions predicted a multi-trillion-dollar metaverse. Everything was a metaverse. Twitter was a metaverse. Roblox.
Yeah, everything. NFT, PFP project became like
Fortnite. Yeah,
the metaverse.
Yeah, Fortnite was a metaverse. Like, PFPs were a part of the metaverse. Like, everything
was the metaverse. So you could see like the market effect of that, right? But since then, Yeah, a lot of people have lost lost the vision, right?
Yeah.
I would say. I think that's what the chart's kind of telling here. Of course, there's also external market forces during this like winterish period, right?
Yeah.
Bitcoin's going down, FTX is collapsing.
Yeah.
Other institutional banks are failing. There's a lot of things happen, right? It wasn't just people losing sight of the vision of the metaverse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
But nonetheless, Decentraland's always going to have its like notable vector of, I guess, like a being the first, I would say, like Web3, like metaverse token, right?
Yeah, I mean, Decentraland started in 2017. They did an ICO. They raised like 25 million.
Yeah, and they've been developing since 2019, 2020. We were there during those stages, and they've only been improving, right? They have a full downloadable client now. It runs much more
it's way better,
seamless than what it used to. So yeah, there's a deep lore and history to Decentraland's like whole development path, right?
Yeah, when we started in the metaverse building, Mana just was a stable coin at 3 cents.
Yeah,
for a long time.
Correct. Yeah, and then there's the whole DAO components associated to Decentraland. So this is very Web3. It was a good attempt, right? It's like, if we're gonna leverage blockchain and tokenization, ownership of things to create a virtual experience, let's do it, right? And I think they did a pretty good job. So I don't know if they've made any announcements as far as like AI integration yet, but our assumption is at some point every metaverse like platform will, right?
Yeah.
They'll all find their angle essentially at some point.
Yeah, correct. So, yeah, I mean, if this was today was 2021, we'd be using OpenSea, but for now we're using Magic Eden.
Post Magic Eden airdrop days, dude.
Yeah,
we only use Magic Eden now. It sounds like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, so we're looking at Decentraland, the land this time, and it has roughly 6,000 holders and change. And do we have a market cap here? It does not say.
I think I did it earlier. It's roughly like 1.5 billion. The token, fungible token, and the land market cap itself. So that's something to keep in mind, right? It's like these legacy metaverses on the Ethereum side from last cycle. They came with NFTs and FTs, fungible tokens, right?
Yeah.
The mana and the sand, which were the
fungible tokens,
essentially like the network's like economic token.
Yeah.
Right? The currency essentially of the metaverse ecosystem. And the land itself is the ownership of the actual
content.
Yeah, the
foundation.
deployment bandwidth essentially. And they have separate markets, of course, like non-fungible tokens and fungible tokens do, right? Typically fungible tokens much more liquid, have like higher velocity in the market because of like more access and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they perform differently, right? They have different dynamics.
Yeah, so the market cap, I think we calculated Decentraland land at like 270 million right now.
Correct. Right now, at all-time highs, it was like around 2 or 3 million, something like that. I mean, billion, sorry.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
All right, so Sandbox, we're looking at 1.9 billion market cap for their fungible token. Let's look at the max.
Ooh,
similar story.
Almost identical, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we were around during the same thing, right? We actually interviewed Sebastian a long time. I wonder if it's on the channel somewhere.
It is.
It has to be.
Yeah, it's probably in 2019.
It's probably one of our first videos or podcast interviews.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, go back and watch that if you're actually interested to hear, like a metaverse pioneer, like kind of explain their intentions all the way back in 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think even then in that interview, there was comparisons to Roblox, I think.
Well, if you just look at the product itself, it's like almost it's essentially a Roblox, but the Web3 version of it, where like obviously everything is ownable, right?
Yeah, correct.
The land, the assets. There's like a game creation tool, just like for Roblox. They have an SDK for developers to make their own experiences and stuff. So that I would assume is that target demographic, right? It's like bring some more of the typical retail participant of the metaverse into the Web3 side of things.
Yeah, so going back to Decentraland, they have a land supply of 86,000. It should be a little bit more than that. It should be closer to 100,000. But the land supply for Sandbox is about 120,000. And they have 3 times as many, or almost 3 times as many holders of the land. So 16,000.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into it later. Why the holder counts are interesting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's Ethereum, essentially. Right. So, one last major like metaverse initiative last cycle was the other side.
Yeah, correct. So we're looking at a supply of around 45,000.
Yeah.
So significantly less than the others.
As far as parcel count?
Parcel count, yeah.
Land ownership count?
And 14,000 owners.
Yeah, but even with this, like the valuation of the land was tremendous, right? Because this was like peak 2021 or 2022.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. This was like peak NFTs. Like obviously Bored Apes were like the most bluest of chips in the NFT market.
Yeah.
So the idea of, the Bored Ape ecosystem, Yuga Labs creating their own metaverse during like the maximum hype of the metaverse, it was the perfect storm, recipe for like an explosion of a launch, right? Yeah. I think they generated like $400 million on that sale.
Yeah, just the land sale, yeah.
Just the sale of the land.
It's huge.
Massive.
All right, so we have this tweet here. It says cooking with friends. So this is a developer at Yuga Labs. Co-founder, and we got what looks like a sort of like a roadmap with some of the stuff redacted here. But point is AI agents, right?
Yeah, like we said, like this is the signal. Like if Yuga Labs is kind of like putting out teasers of their AI agent like ecosystem planned, assume all other metaverse ecosystems are going to follow suit, right? Yeah, so this is basically them pre-announcing like a AI agent application within the other side's ecosystem, which the other side itself hasn't even like officially rolled out yet.
Yeah, correct. They've been working on it for many years.
Yeah, but they're working along with Improbable, right?
That's correct.
Deploy MML within their ecosystem, and they keep demonstrating a lot of interesting like technologies, like the bubble concept.
Yep. It's basically Twitter Spaces, but in the metaverse.
Yeah, so it's actually like you're in a bubble in the sky with like everybody. Like imagine when you join these Twitter spaces, there's like 100 people, right, in the space, and then there's like a few speakers, right? So imagine all those people had actual virtual avatar presence, and you're in like an environment, and you're just like all in a bubble. So only the people within the bubble can hear this conversation.
Yeah, and the bubble deployer can control where the bubble goes in that 3D environment.
Yeah, or end the call, right? And that's the bubble pops, and you just everyone just falls to their death. Yeah. That's how Twitter should be, essentially.
Hell yeah!
So it's pretty cool. So they demonstrated a lot of interesting novel tech in context of the metaverse, but isn't fully rolled out yet.
Yeah.
Right. So
we got another one here. Portals.
Yeah, this is so if you're bullish on Solana, which a lot of you are, for good reason. I mean, I think Solana just flipped Ethereum from like a active developer metric standpoint.
Yeah, but you know who also flipped Ethereum for that metric? Polkadot.
Oh, right. Dude, I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah, what? That's true.
Right. So I don't know how much weight that metric has, other than it's like the optics of it. But
but it's like it's not just developers too, right? They have other impressive metrics like like
for sure
market volume and such. Right?
Yeah, revenue generated.
Yeah. Like on Pumped Out Fun and stuff. Like the number one Web3 app happened on Solana. So there's a lot of reasons to be bullish about that ecosystem. And I don't think Solana has really cornered its native metaverse yet.
Correct. Yeah.
So Portals has the potential to do that, right?
Yeah. So this one has a supply of 15,000 and almost 3,000 holders.
Yeah. So this is much smaller on the scale of like a metaverse, right?
But with a market cap of 11 million.
Yeah, but I'm pretty confident like these can scale upwards. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So of course you guys have been waiting for. What about Bitmap?
Yeah, we talked about Ethereum. We've talked about Solana a little bit. Now, what about? So this is another maybe potential mind shocker to a lot of you out there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Bitcoin. What about Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? You mean Bitcoin and its like comparisons to gold?
Yeah. That's right.
No, dude. There's more to Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. Bitcoin comparison to like thermodynamics.
Yeah. Right. Or whatever, right? Just the usability of Bitcoin beyond just a store of value. Like it's an actual ecosystem in itself.
Yeah. So here's some like mind-boggling numbers. Owners, 45,000
and growing.
Yeah.
If you watch our videos, so this essentially was birthed about a year and a half ago, and during that stage, a block out occurred, meaning like every single Bitcoin block had to be essentially claimed.
How many is that, Iman?
Right now it's 874,000. Back then it was like 700 something thousand.
Yeah, 780, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, so about 100,000 less blocks than what exists today. But that was like the first of its kind type of event. Never happened before.
Yeah.
And back then there was like 20,000 owners. So the owner count is essentially doubled in a year. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So yeah, total supply 874,000 districts. And each district has its own count of transactions or parcels.
Yeah. So there's a lot of depth to the Bitmap ecosystem if this is your first time like learning about it.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend you go to our playlist that has like 60 videos or so.
Yep.
Literally from like day one till like recent events.
So the block out, yeah, and recent events, yeah.
Yeah, but good luck. That's a lot of studying to do. Or you could just simply like join the Twitter community.
Yeah, just buy a bitmap, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, they're everywhere.
All right, so yeah, those are mind-boggling numbers. It doesn't have a market cap here listed, but I think the market cap is closer to like 30 million.
30 to 40 million has been like the...
Yeah, 40 million.
Yeah, but so this was a free mint. This doesn't have like the typical, like on Ethereum, all those metaverses we mentioned had like the typical setup, right? Like tens of millions of dollars in funding, the fungible token launch along with it. Even the other side has ApeCoin, right? There's a fungible token within the ecosystem. Bitmap doesn't have any of that. It was truly like an organic spawn of a creation.
Yeah.
No like typical industry like VC setup for the launch of things. So
yeah, if you minted a bitmap, it cost maybe less than $1 to mint it back in the day.
Yeah, and its all-time high surged to $300.
$300, that's right.
It was quite the 300x rush of an experience if you were having to pay attention during the early days, right? But now it's like preparing for its next leg up, right? Because along with the metaverse sector, as these AI agents find its like product market fit within the metaverse space, it's going to happen in the Bitmap ecosystem also. And then all of a sudden, I think the mass market of people interested in the metaverse are going to become aware that the fact that a Bitcoin ecosystem is emerging around Bitmap.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, 100%. And so this presents an opportunity for builders to create content for Bitmap in whatever way you see fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now let's continue a little bit deeper. All right, there's projects happening on Bitmap. This one's called Bitmap Community, and I think they sold like 500 parcels.
Yeah, exactly 500.
Yeah. And so this is basically, let's see, Bitmap, let me see, which number is this? Bitmap 364,807. And 500 of those parcels were distributed to people. And this was like in early 2024, right?
Yeah, like early beginning of the year, I would say.
Yeah.
So what this is called is essentially a land distribution event, right?
Yeah, correct.
So let's go look at the next one. This is so you can kind of see what that looks like, right? So this is an actual bitmap. Again, that's a representation of a Bitcoin block, right? 716472.
That's correct.
That is the Bitcoin block that this bitmap was derived from, right?
Yeah. And so this is our bitmap. So we call this one the Natrix. And as you can see here, it's essentially you go to this website, you click on a square, and you can mint that square. And so you can see all these people who had minted already.
Yeah, so like you said, the bitmaps, the district is like, each block is its own district. The parcels are these variant sizes of little squares within the district, right? So this is what you actually can individually mint and claim to have ownership of this district, right? And participate in the ecosystem from within, right?
Yeah. So, all right. So this is another version of a land distribution, right? And the whole idea here is that if you have a bitmap and you want to do your own LDE, well, you would just come to mscribe, connect your bitmap, and then just launch an LDE. And so we would take care of all like the technical details to make that happen. But yeah, that's the whole point of this. And so Bitmap Emporium, they also did a land distribution event.
Yeah, and I think this one closes pretty soon, like in a couple of days or so. So
yeah, so make sure you get in because as you can see, it's almost completely claimed.
Yeah, basically only the orange squares right? And just not many left. Yeah, they're just the tiny, the little ones are left. So those are the cheapest parcels, right? So
So here we are. So we got a parcel.
Yeah, we got a nice big one, dude. What size is our parcel? Is that like a 3x3 or something?
That looks
or
like
4x4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 6x6, dude.
Oh damn, dude, we got a big one.
Yep.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
All right.
So we'll be in there deploying content. A lot of these other portraits on display here are essentially like ordinal communities, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, speaking of Bitcoin ecosystem, there's a whole like NFT and fungible token like meta protocol space where you could essentially do most activities that can be done on Ethereum and Solana, but in Bitcoin.
That's right.
On chain, fully on chain.
The mother chain, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
All right, so what's the opportunity here? So Bitmap, we got a rough, I guess, according to this picture, how old is this pic? September 20. Okay, so roughly 52 million in this case. All-time high, almost 300 million. And here are the comparisons of the all-time high for Sandbox and the other side.
Yeah, this is just a contextual representation, I guess, of, again, like these were the valuations of those like ecosystems during like the height of like Metaverse hype mania, right? And the reason last cycle that occurred, like you just said, was like a macro shift in like the awareness and the perception of value for the Metaverse because of essentially big tech signaling is like, this is a very important frontier to explore and invest in and to develop for.
You don't have to go as far as like looking at what Facebook did. They converted their name to Meta, and they're focusing on the Metaverse.
Correct.
Right. That's the signal of all signals, if there ever was one.
Correct. Yeah. So, but this time it's not like they can do that again, or there's like other.
Right.
So it's like this time for the Metaverse market hype awareness, whatever, for the interpretation of like new discoverable value to occur, is like now it's like we got to find the right product market fit and the right essentially the next steps moving forward.
The value proposition of the Metaverse.
Yeah, in order for it to kind of like resurge to previous all-time highs, right?
Yeah, so this is a good segue. Is like you mentioned an interesting word. This is, you said that we are going to be deploying stuff in Bitmap Emporium. So what the hell does that look like?
Yeah, what does that look like?
All right, so this is what the matrix looks like, right? And so this is using Bitmap OS. So Bitmap OS is the contextual awareness of Bitmap, in our case, the DMT ecosystem, right? So this is a NatCat, right? So this NatCat avatar was a block drop to a NatCat. And so all these things are on-chain assets, right? And so Bitmap OS is just an on-chain, it's an awareness of the DMT ecosystem, Bitmap, and the technology of MML, which is Metaverse Markup Language.
Yeah.
And so Bitmap OS is going to be accessible to anyone with a bitmap. And these are the parcels that are going to be distributed, right? So this is the matrix. So a lot of people own these parcels. Like you can see this guy is already deploying stuff. And this Bitmap OS is going to be accessible to, Bitmap Emporium here pretty soon. And so now people would be able to take their parcel and start building on top of it.
Yep.
And here's just like small examples of what people are doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the pandas.
The pandas, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, DMT pandas. So that's the idea here, is like essentially, translate what is being non-arbitrarily produced through bitmap theory, right? That's what the bitmaps do, is they leverage on-chain Bitcoin data to produce essentially the virtual space itself, like the allocation of space within the metaverse in context of Bitcoin. In a 2D sense, right? That's what you're acquiring when you get a bitmap, like on Magic Eden. That's what you get. Each one's unique. It fully displays what that spatial allocation looks like. Now it's like we need to translate that into the 3D environment, right? And still maintain that the provenance of what's that non-arbitrary production, right? And that's exactly what Bitmap OS is doing, and we need to systematize that now so that every single bitmap that does exist has the capability essentially to also be translated, right? And then to add on top of that, the next stage is to build the right technology infrastructure so that the applications, the content layer essentially, that's being deployed on top of this and has the interoperability of the functionality that can be like essentially deployed across that entire ecosystem, right? Because you don't want to have silos within all these bitmaps, right?
Yeah, correct. No, you want to create a network of bitmaps, and that network should have content that is applicable on the different bitmaps.
Yeah, because that's important, because this is what developers want to see, right? They don't want to build within like a silo. They want their content, their apps, because these things are not trivial to produce, right? They have a cost.
Yeah.
To manufacture, to program, all these things.
Engineering time, that's expensive.
Yeah, so in order for like a mass proliferation of like, these applications to exist again, and potentially agents, all these things are also going to be, they need to be engineered, right, and applied.
Yeah, so you can imagine agents actually coming up with this content. Like you could just program, these buildings, this content, and the agent would just like build your MML like document for you.
So walk us through like that process. How do you imagine like the interface flow, I guess?
Yeah, so since I don't own this land, the interface doesn't pop up, but there's a little button where you can, so for example here, like I can access my parcels, and once, once you click on it, it'll pull up the MML document, right? And so here's where you can edit it. And so there's a much cleaner kind of interface to edit it and just like copy and paste it here, but this is what my land is running, right? The code.
Okay.
And so you can imagine an AI agent that you chat with to build out your content for your parcel.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you're going to see it actually, the code actually populate within this frame itself and actually appear.
Yeah, 100%.
Within the parcel.
In real time. So as the AI agent is populating this code document, it is you're seeing the output on the land itself, and so is everyone else. Everyone's seeing the same thing that you're seeing.
Yeah, we got to do that, dude.
Yeah.
Now that you're like sitting there displaying it, and shout out Atomicals, by the way, for that cool build.
Yeah.
Another Bitcoin ecosystem, fungible token, non-fungible token, like protocol space to explore. So there's a lot of interesting things happening in context of the Bitcoin space.
Yeah.
And of course, the metaverse as well, AI agents. Like, this is going to be an interesting bull cycle, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new vectors of interest, a lot of new things to explore and like, dive deep into. So, I think that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it for us. If you have any questions on the metaverse, we definitely have answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section below. I appreciate you for watching, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.